uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom!
Well, hello there, humans. Today I'm going to be talking about how to be a bully in the E50M. And you can take this to heart to use with any tank that has a really good armor profile as a medium. There's a lot of tanks out there like this, and a lot of people... I'll tell you a big part of why I'm making this video is I kept seeing 50Ms that were just being driven hopelessly, backline snipers, and trying to stay at a distance. And that's not the game you want to play with the 50M. The 50M is an incredible medium that doesn't know it and don't tell it, but it's not actually a heavy tank. It thinks it is. It's capable of side scraping. It's capable of going hull down. It's got 8 degrees of gun depression. It's an incredible rammer. It does a whopping 60 odd kilometers an hour, and it weighs, I mean, the reason it's so good at ramming, does 60 kilometers an hour, weighs 62 tons. That means when you hit stuff, and especially considering the frontal armor, it stays hit. And I'm going to break down the 2 biggest reasons why the 50M works. And I'll show you those in very clear detail in a couple of seconds. I would love if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, you just to click the subscribe button down the bottom. It would help me out. We're trying to rebuild our Blitz machine here. We took a long time off to go and play PUBG Mobile, and that was great. We got 120,000 plus subs on that channel. But let's get Blitz rumbling and rolling again. Anyway, let's talk about the things that make the 50M absolutely incredible. This is the 50M here. Actually, we might need to upsize that. Enhance. There we go. Make it bigger, in other words. And the thing that really stands out first and foremost is this upper plate right here. The upper plate is 150 millimeters thick. That's a massive amount of millimeters, and it's very, very sloped, which means it actually has an effective armor frontally of 300 millimeters. You angle this thing 15 or 20 degrees left or right, and you're unpennable by any same tier medium tank. The upper plate is just ridiculous. You can get up to 400, 500 millimeters if you're up above. The second thing is this side armor here, which is 80 millimeters thick. That's more than some heavy tanks. And that means that you can't be overmatched. If I recall correctly, the mechanic for overmatching in Blitz and WoWs and everything is 3 times the armor profile. So you've got to have a 241 millimeter gun before you can overmatch the sides of this armor. In other words, you just shoot it and it's going to go through whatever the angle. And that gun doesn't exist in a lot of tanks. Let's get down to being a bully. And I'm going to show you 2 games here with the E50M. And this is a wonderful tank for me because it's one of the tanks that I absolutely adored early on in game. When the game first came out, over 7 years ago now, there were only 3 medium tanks at tier 10. There was the T62A, which was considered quite broken, and it was. There was the M48A1 Patton, the vanilla gorilla, which was good at pretty much everything, but not great at anything. And then there was the E50M. And the E50M was special because it really was a heavy medium. You got that upper plate, you ran around, you shoved it in everyone's face, and you were incredibly accurate, something that the dispersion numbers were much higher back then. Well, it seems like that to me. They're definitely much higher for the 50M and for the 62A. The 50M now has a 0.275 dispersion, which is crackers, absolutely crackers. And what you would try and do, because you saw tier 8 matchmaking, was ram people. I remember ramming a 62A on the old Desert Sands map when he was in the bottom of the gully for 720 with an E50M. I put it in one of my intros. Try doing that and not laughing. And you're going to see a great example of that here. The FE4202, I realized things are going pear-shaped here. We're already a couple of tanks down. And the 4202 is going to be a 2-shot. I've got 350 average alpha. Watch me turn him into a 1-shot. And he's reversing because he knows this is coming. But we just touch him, and there you go. There's a couple of 100 damage. Another hit. Everyone's happy. Move on, move on, move on. And the gun is great. It's not always going to be perfect, but it's very, very cool. The thing you don't want to be doing in this tank is trying to bully same tier heavy tanks because, well, your penetration is not incredible. And your DPM, while, you know, good for a tier 10 tank overall, is not exactly incredible either. Your damage per minute is 3,156, which is brilliant. Like, don't get me wrong, the E50M has had massive buffs to both penetration and damage output over the years, but the game as a whole has crept along power-wise. So we're down by a couple of tanks and we started pulling it back. We've driven away very, very nicely, very quickly, because you do 60 kilometers an hour. And we're now setting up back here to try and use some of this gun depression and frontal armor. Now, I'm not a perfect player at all, but one thing I know is that if you set out with a plan in a tank like the E50M and you don't bleed hit points, you can be really, really tough to take down. Now, that Yo has moved up. He wants to get rid of the IS-4. He probably thinks he's a bigger danger than I am, which is very much not the case. And I don't hit the adrenaline here, even though it's up, because I know that would probably be a waste. I've got to wait for this guy to come around. Now, he's got the low alpha 300 alpha gun. The other guy has the 450 alpha gun. So you see we bounce one, then the other 450 alpha shot's going to hit me now, takes me down to 130. They're both on big reloads now. So I can really take my time and just ruin this poor old tier 10 heavy because of his crappy DPM. And we've still got 130 units left. Knowing when to be a bully in this tank is quite simply a skill that you have to learn. But the most basic skill on this is like so many German tanks. It's side scraping. That Leopard one, oh my goodness gracious me. Thank God he was one of the last two left because I was so sure he was going to shoot me. I was keeping this auto bounce angle on my right, but no, he's not even looking at me. He's firing into the E100. So I'm like, happy days. Cool. And then we finish off the M6 Yo. Now I'm going to show you another replay in just a second because I love this tank and I play it a lot. And what I want to show you about the second video in particular is how similar it is in nature to this first video. And you're going to see a real methodology when you start playing this tank well, in that it's incredibly versatile. Look, you don't have to go up front with it. I understand that. But I think you are missing out on a huge trick if you can manage to play up front with the E50M. But all in all, it's just a joke of a machine when you get to bully other mediums. And you know, if you're a proper medium player, that when you look at the team list and you see an E50M on the other team, you have to adjust to that. A well-played E50M will really wreck your stuff. And that's a batch at 25 TAP. And you can see we're moving along quite comfortably at 50 kilometers an hour plus. And we're not going down hills or anything. This is a 60-ton tank, right? Great. So we're spotted by that standard B. There is only one medium over there. The other medium is going to pop down near that C cap in just a short while. And I realize that this is possibly an opportunity to go and do what I love doing best in the 50M, which is bullying tier 9 and tier 10 mediums. Good luck penning in that thing. I mean, seriously. So I think he's running away right now. So I'm going to push. And as I push, there is a grill going to get spotted just up here on the left. And we take a shot of opportunity. He is not looking across until very late in the piece. And I assume that the standard B has left the building. That's not the case at all. The grill is going to push over and the standard B is going to push over. And you're going to see the value of the 50M's armor profile. So I pop one in the side, absolutely fine. And then he gets to deal with his upper plate. I don't know exactly how much penetration the standard B has, but I'm going to tell you right now that it doesn't have enough to be dealing with me. And neither does that grill. The upper plate, when you're in this kind of a position, is massive. Watch this, and here we go. Have a little ram. Yep, a couple of 100 damage nearly. Get right in his face. Be really aggressive with that. Great stuff. Now, very reminiscent of the last game where we just pushed hard into that FV4202 because the FV, obviously, if he's running the Hesh gun, only has a max of about 230 millimeters of pen on his Hesh and around slightly, I think it's 245, 250 on his APCR. So I was very comfortable pushing into him. And the closer you are to those kind of targets, the better off you're going to be in an E50M. What I love particularly about this game is the end of the game where I have to role play a heavy tank. And you can see the E50M in all its glory. It's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, back to the case in point. And this is a really tough one because we've got a grill that's about to go down over there. And I'm in two minds here as to who do I support. On the right, I have a couple of teammates, but I don't have a 183. And the 183, once he fires over here, is going to get absolutely shellacked. So what I'm doing here, I know there's no shots for me here, but I'm actually just pulling out so that they see me and they think that there is a tank here. And that way I can start making a move myself and maybe give this 183 a little bit more time. Now, we're pushing around and we've been spotted. Unfortunate. I didn't realize the convoy was going to stay there. In fact, I didn't think the convoy was going to push. I've got to make a hard choice now. And this is where the game gets really, really interesting. Clear the convoy or hit the heavy tanks. And I'm going to go with the convoy because I know that there's a chance here I can get this pitbull and keep him alive. I don't really feel like there's a way to keep the 183 alive. And because of that, we get the pitbull, keep him up. Perfect, perfect, perfect. The 183 is taking a hard lesson in peekaboo tanking over here from the two near full health tier 10 heavies. Well, one of them is, and that is the IS-7. You can see I was shot his track, trying to stop him before he got around the corner. Unfortunately, couldn't do it. And then here we go. Side scrape. Side scrape. Good luck hitting that. Good luck hitting that, buddy. And we're going to get one in the Cran. Then we're going to drive past the Cran. We're going to take one just as we fly past the booty, but it's a bounce. One more in, and we set up again. And look at this. We've got a tier 10 heavy on the left, a tier 10 heavy on the right. We've got one other tank with us. That M48 should probably be getting off the map right now, staying unspotted and getting a long way away. I don't think that's what he's going to do. We're just side scraping. Happy to make that trade because I want him to fire. That's a 2-for-1 all day long for me. I've been saving my hit points for just such an occasion. We're jiggling, wiggling, jiggling, wiggling. It's all right. Here we go. We got enough. We got enough in the tank. No pun intended. And this is the beauty of this tank. It's a wonderful tank to be doing this kind of thing with. Beta shot out. Drive forward. Lower glacis. Thank your mother for the rabbits. That's the tier 10 E50M. Just an absolutely monstrous tank. 6,300 damage there. The mastery. Lots and lots of hard work. Pushing around the flank. Clearing things up. Good game by my mate in the Pitbull as well with 4.3k. And that's what I love about this tank. It can do so much. And if you have the tank in your garage and you're not using it to be a bit of a bully, why don't you take it out, give it a spin, and see what you think. I'm Bushka. Look after yourself. Stay safe in the battlefield.